officers brought in from as far away as Wales. That was the scale of yesterday's operation to keep order as Birmingham City met Aston Villa in the league for the first time in 5 years. It's a match that's seen significant trouble in the past, so police say their preparations were fully justified. Our reporter Elizabeth Glinker has been given exclusive access to the policing operation.
Derby day in Birmingham, and it doesn't get much bigger than Blues versus Villa.
It's like Rangers and Celtic. It's like that.
Everyone hates Villa. We hate them. I really do think we'll do them today, though.
And for the officers of the West Midlands football unit, the day started hours ago.
Police! Police!
It's 5:30 a.m. and they're raiding the homes of fans they suspect could be planning trouble.
The warrants that we've made this morning are absolutely all part of a disruption tactic to try and take out some of those individuals.
Preparations for this day began in June. The kick-off was moved from Saturday afternoon to Sunday lunchtime to cut back pre-match drinking time. And this is why. The last time the clubs met in the League Cup, violence broke out and 7 men were jailed.
It's our biggest event of the year in terms of football. It goes back a long time. Unfortunately for us, there has been incidents of disorders at many of the local derbies, so it is a really big event for us.
The operation involves hundreds of officers, including football spotters, specialist police whose job it is to identify troublemakers. About an hour before kick-off, they approach a group of fans on their way to the ground.
They're now ascertaining who has tickets for the fixture, who hasn't. Obviously, if they haven't got tickets, what are their intention? Are they going to the game to cause violence? Are they going to the stadium to collect tickets? We need to ask them questions to find out.
As supporters move closer to the ground, the police work hard to keep the two sides apart.
It's about 10 minutes to kick off now. You can see just down the road behind me, the fans that were being escorted up the hill by the spotters are kind of meeting in the middle with the Blues fans that were already on this hill. And there's a bit of a standoff going on in the middle.
Some arrests are made as fans are forced back. But after kick-off, things calm down. At half-time, the team meet in the control room for an update.
The pubs have just been checked, boss. There is nothing risk-wise outside the stadium at the moment.
At the end of the match, Villa fans are held in the ground for almost an hour to prevent clashes. Most Blues fans head home, but some hang around, leading to a short confrontation with police. Nevertheless, the day is considered a success.
At times it's been lively, certainly at times when police officers have had to keep the groups apart, certain items have been thrown towards police officers, missiles and dispersals have had to be put in place, but ultimately it's been because we've prevented the groups from getting to each other.
In all, 14 arrests are made. The police continue the operation into the evening. Planning for the return fixture starts now. Elizabeth Glinker, BBC Midlands Today, Birmingham.
And you can see the full story behind that operation and what officers had to do to keep rival fans apart on Inside Out, 7:30 here on BBC One.
It's Derby day in Birmingham and passions run high, with more than 25,000 people heading to one match that means so much to so many in the city. There's potential for trouble. So for the police, the day starts very early. Kick-off's still 7 hours away, but some fans aren't going to make it to the game.
The warrants that we've made this morning are absolutely all part of a disruption tactic to try and take out some of those individuals, which may, have an impact later on this afternoon.
When it comes to derby games, they don't come much bigger than Birmingham City versus Aston Villa. And this is the first time they've met in the same league for 5 years.
Everyone hates Villa. We hate them.
I think the Blues fans are disgusting. They're not here to watch football.
They last met in the League Cup in September 2015. Fighting broke out. There were 26 arrests and 7 were jailed. There's a history of trouble when these clubs meet, with fans on both sides getting caught up in the moment.
It's intense. It's probably as intense as Glasgow and Celtic and Manchester United and Manchester City. Football fans will argue theirs is the most hotly contested local derby, and I'm sure Birmingham fans and Villa fans today will say that theirs is the most important local derby. They are always passionately supported events.
Right, it's just after 7 o'clock in the morning and this is the first police briefing of the day. These guys are called spotters. They're specialist officers who know the football clubs, they know the fans and they know the possible troublemakers. There'll be 7 teams of spotters out today, trying to stop any trouble before it starts.
There is no alcohol on sale to away fans inside the ground. Alcohol is on sale to home fans though.
There are spotters assigned to each team. They get to know the fans and even travel to away games. Colin and Stuart are the head spotters for Blues and Villa. It's now 8 a.m. and we're heading out with them as they travel around the city's pubs looking for likely flashpoints and what they call risk fans, but what most of us would call hooligans. I mean, do you expect people to be drinking as early as 8 o'clock in the morning?
There will be people drinking. We don't expect it to be much of an issue today because of the early kick-off time, whereas if it had been 3, alcohol would be an issue, but not too much. Most people will go for breakfast and have a drink with the breakfast.
As the spotters set off, hundreds of other officers gather to be briefed. It's such a massive operation. Specially trained riot police from Staffordshire, Wales and Warwickshire have been drafted in. The clubs contribute to the cost, but West Midlands Police picks up the rest of the bill. Planning began back in June when the fixtures were announced. The game was moved from 3 o'clock on a Saturday to midday on a Sunday to cut back pre-match drinking time and reduce the risk of violence. During the morning, the spotting teams worked their way round about 50 pubs in Birmingham. Fans who are known to the police tend not to stick to one meeting place, so the spotters are constantly on the hunt for where they might be. It feels more like 8:30 in the evening than 8:30 in the morning, but in here it's all good-natured. But then, about an hour before kick-off, Colin and Stuart make a stop-off at a pub that looks deserted.
We've just stopped to do another check. The pub behind me looks like it's completely closed, but Stuart and Colin have just been inside. It is absolutely jam-packed and they've told me that there are some risk fans inside the pub.
It needs handling carefully. Stuart and Colin recognise lads from a risk group who call themselves Blues Youth. They call for backup. It's a tense wait. Over at St Andrews, Blues fans are already pouring in, and 500 away fans are arriving on coaches from Villa Park. There's a bit of shouting, but the police tactics work and they make it in safely. But back at the pub, the fans are on the move. The police are watching them closely. The concern now is that they're just around the corner from a train station where hundreds of Villa fans are arriving. They don't want the rival sides to meet up. As they get to the end of the street, vans full of police swoop in, and in seconds they've surrounded them and taken control of the situation.
They're now ascertaining who has tickets for the fixture, who hasn't. Obviously, if they haven't got tickets, what are their intention? Are they going to the game to cause violence? Are they going to the stadium to collect tickets? We need to ask them questions.
The police stay with the Blues fans as they get closer to the ground to keep them apart from the Villa supporters in an area they know can be a flashpoint.
It's about 10 minutes to kick off now. You can see just down the road behind me, the fans that were being escorted up the hill by the spotters are kind of meeting in the middle with the Blues fans that were already on this hill. And there's a bit of a standoff going on in the middle. It's definitely an atmosphere, lots of jeering, lots of chanting, but so far, no major trouble.
As they get to the gates, trouble does break out. What makes it hard for the police at St Andrews is that there's only one route in and out of the ground, meaning it's not easy to keep the home and away fans separate. The police can't let the Villa supporters up to the gates until the Blues fans have been pushed back.
We always knew that was going to be a flashpoint coming up from the watering hole island up to the ground. We had a large group of Birmingham fans who gathered on the Coventry Road. They've been forced back by officers so we could safely bring the group of Aston Villa fans up as well. And I think it's gone as well as could be expected, really.
As the game kicks off, things quieten down outside the ground and most of the spotting teams head inside for the game. It's half-time and the police have a briefing in the control room about where any risk fans are in the stadium and their plans to hold back the away fans at full time.
Every time Villa come to play here, there is disorder on the Coventry Road. If there are no Birmingham City fans on the Coventry Road, there can't be disorder between the two sets of supporters. That sounds easy, but it's not necessarily easy to make happen.
Well, as you can see, the final whistle has now gone. The Blues fans are coming out of the ground. It was a 1-1 draw, much quieter than it was before. The important thing now is getting everyone away from the stadium safely. So because of that, the police have decided to hold the Villa fans inside to give the Blues fans a chance to get away from the ground so that there's no opportunity for the two sides to clash.
But it doesn't stay calm for long. Huge groups are hanging around hoping to confront the Villa fans, and they face off with the police as they try to force them back down the Coventry Road.
Get back, or batons will be deployed.
These Blues supporters won't move, so eventually the police make a show of force, raising their batons and charging the fans down the hill. It's almost an hour before it's clear enough to let the Villa fans out.
Bad back, bad legs, they've got to go out.
As they're led slowly down the hill, a few stragglers taunt them along the way. The operation at the ground is over. There have only been 14 arrests so far, and the police are pleased with how it's gone.
Certainly at times it did get heated, but a lot of that anger and passion was directed towards police officers, those police officers who were keeping the two groups apart. So ultimately we've done our job by preventing rival factions coming together and engaging in disorder.
But around the city, there are still pockets of trouble.
It's 2 hours since the final whistle now, but as you can see behind me, the police operation is still very much ongoing. This pub is full of Blues fans. The police are taking some of them out, they're searching them because they are worried that there is still the potential for trouble.
So what started at 5 a.m. this morning is still ongoing. It's going to be a long night. And then tomorrow, the planning begins for the return leg in April.